Well, first off, let's just start off with, if you can introduce yourself to everybody. Who is Matt Singley?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question,
It's
right?
the hardest question of the day, so we get that out of the way first.
Yeah. This Matt Singley is the co-founder of Hello Blue CBD. And so that's my job title. But what I am as a person, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. I've been self-employed since I can remember. I'm a father of four. I am an engaged man. I am a person who believes in giving back. I try to be kind in all circumstances. I don't always succeed, but I sure try. And I have, I think, a pretty decent worldview of people in general. And so all of those things over the years turned into this company, Hello Blue CBD, where we can help people with different things, mostly stuff that those of us who started the company have struggled with. So does that answer your question, who I am?
That does, and that actually relates to a few of the main questions that I want to ask you. But I will say, and I should tell people, so I am sponsored by Hello Blue CBD now. So that's a disclaimer, more so because I just continually ask you guys for like, hey, I really want to be involved with you guys. You guys are doing something cool. And we'll kind of get to how I first reached out to you. But I was amazed when I was first starting to buy these products that I would get to the checkout page and I was like, hey, what charity do you want to give back to? Because we're giving a percentage and there's 8 different charities that you choose from.
Mhm.
And I was just like, wait, this is really awesome. And every time I did it, I would kind of forget and I'd get to that page. And I'm like, oh, this feels so good. Like, and the fact that you guys, I realize a lot of businesses do that, but a lot of businesses don't do that. So
Yeah.
thanks for being one that does. And I will vouch that, man, you bend over backwards to have helping me in different ways. And I'm sure all the other people that are involved with representing your brand. And that's really one of the reasons why when you asked me to kind of join the squad, I was super pumped because of what you guys stand for. And that really, you don't always find that in a company that's just out for the money, but it's been really refreshing, to put it that way. So thanks for doing that.
Well, thanks, man. And as I think you know, we only work with and sponsor people that we like as humans. Also, there are a lot of great athletes out there, and not all of them are great humans. And I knew from kind of the moment I started talking to you and working with you, it's been a while now.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a good guy.
Thank
I could
you.
hang out with you, and we would like probably kind of get along pretty well and move in the same direction in life.
That was always, and I tell this to people who are newer cyclists and they're looking for a team. And I just tell them, would you go hang out with these people? You're going to hang out with them on the weekend, but would you go get a coffee with this person? Or are you just doing it for the free kit and the bike?
Right.
And so it's the similar thing. But yeah, it's definitely not from just athletic prowess, because I look on the sponsored athlete sheet and I'm like, this is good company to be in. I'm the least accomplished cyclist here.
Oh,
This is
that's not
good.
true. You want to see our sponsored page?
Yeah. Dude, look at Shaka. Just like, yo, what up?
He's so cut.
Oh, he
So
looks,
yeah, this is our sponsored athletes
yeah,
page.
just Phil, Allison, Tasha, an Olympian.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. The Shaka looks so happy in his Instagram post. I really love following him. And I was like, when I first looked at the page before I was sponsored, oh, who are these people? And I was like, oh wow, this guy has like 800,000 followers. Everyone in the world knows who he is. I had no idea who he was.
Yeah, I met Shaka at a ESPY event recently, like the ESPY Awards, ESPN. And I have to admit, I don't like really follow ESPN a lot. I'm that weird person who I follow cycling and soccer, football,
Football.
and football. So it was pretty cool to like meet Shaka and some other pretty great people at that event.
So, and I can't even actually remember exactly how I found you guys. I remember I was looking for,
I know the answer.
what is the answer? I looked back to our first email.
It's
Was it,
this guy right
was it,
here.
well, so was it Phil? Because you actually sent me a ton of samples to the Grand Fondo that I saw him at.
Yes,
How
that's
did the
correct.
conversation start? So for people watching, this is back in before COVID in March of, oh no, maybe it was after COVID. Was it March of
No,
2020?
it was before COVID.
March of 19 then?
Yeah, I think so.
And I was looking for a chamois cream. Maybe it was Phil that was just talking about it. And I know Adam Hansen's posted a video about it. And I was like, dude, people are keep talking about this stuff. I went to your website and I was like, and I didn't know anything about CBD. And there are a bunch of just basic questions that I get from other athletes and that I
Yeah.
kind of had asked you about. And this might be a good segue, but I mean, we'll get into, I brought some of my favorite things. This is one of the reasons. It's honestly not even the CBD, to be honest with you. This, you go like this. This is not goopy. And you can actually
Yeah.
take it on your finger and look, it stays where you put it. My background's kind of screwed.
Hey.
Yeah. So once I saw this stuff, I was like, okay, these guys have like legit products. Maybe I should look more into what they're doing over here. And then we kind of started talking. That's where it all evolved from. But what's your history with CBD? How did you get into this? I know you were doing, like, you had a big marketing agency. You co-founded this with somebody else. What's the story there?
So yeah, my history leading up to this was marketing for some very big companies that I will not name drop, but we've all used their products. And so running a marketing agency was great. And in a lot of ways, and the people I worked with were awesome, but it wasn't really like life fulfilling. No offense to any of my clients, but you can only hawk video game systems for so long. So the genesis of our company was this my business life and my personal life mix up a lot here. Okay, so
That's a good thing, though, I think.
So I started dating this awesome woman named Christina, and I had just finished a triathlon out here in California, and we were talking about it, and this is like right when we really met each other, and she's like, "Wow, you're so fit," and I'm like, "Thanks." But
Go me.
but I'm sore all the time, and I hurt, and I have this weird autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis that makes, generally speaking, my bones grow together. It's not great. And so I was always struggling with pain like that, but I was on a lot of pretty hardcore like biologics that my rheumatologist had given me so that I could function. And so she said, "Hey, do you take CBD?" And I had no idea what she was talking about. I really didn't. And she goes, "Well, here, try this. This other person turned me on to it. My dad used it for a long time to help with his cancer." And so I'm like, whatever, I'll give it a shot. Tried it, felt better, but coincidence, whatever. So we continue through our relationship, and I continue to take CBD. And then I went to reorder it, and it was so expensive. I was blown away how expensive the market, and this is several years ago. This is like right before the Farm Bill legalized it all. And so, I mean, I'm making a good living, and I'm looking at this little tincture, and it's like $200. And I'm going, well, I'm supposed to drop $200 a month. Like that seems like a lot. So anyway, we progressed.
But the people that were using it back then, and that was the thing, like they're like, if it worked for them, they were nuts about it. And I was just like, CBD, I was super skeptical about all this stuff, I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, me too. So I kept using it, and I felt better, but I was also thinking, I'm a pretty skeptical and analytical person. So I'm tracking all my fitness, and I'm tracking how I'm feeling. And I'm like, I feel better, but what a coincidence, right? What a coincidence. And I keep on saying this month after month after month. And finally, I talked to my rheumatologist and said, "Hey, can I stop these shots and these other things? I want to see if CBD is really working for me." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Like the worst thing that happens is you're just in excruciating pain." And I'm like, "That sounds terrible, but okay, let's give it a shot." So anyway, that was a few years ago, and I haven't gone back on those biologics.
That's great. Seriously,
Yeah.
CBD took it over?
Yes, and I must say, since I am an owner of this company, like the FDA is pretty clear we can't make medical claims. So I'm not making any medical claims here. I'm just answering your question about how I was introduced.
Exactly. And that's a good thing to have. I mean, so we'll get to I just sent you like a confessions email, and I'll tell people what it was. And I was like, I wanted it to be everything but the CBD. And I was like, it just coincidence. It must be coincidence. And then I was like, oh, it is that.
Yeah.
So The biggest question that I get from people is, well, Brendan, you've gotten drug tested before. Aren't you worried about getting drug tested? And you have a really good tab on your website that is like, hey, are you new to CBD? Start here, and explains some of this. But almost every product is world anti-doping compliant, except for one, which is a full spectrum tincture. And you guys
Right.
highlight this. How can I alleviate other athletes' fears that they're not going to get in trouble for this? Because how does that, can you distinguish briefly? I'm sure this could be like a long answer. Like, what's the difference really between the CBD and the THC when it comes to a drug test?
So it is a complex, long answer, but I just kind of the long and short of it is this: is that CBD, legal CBD, federally legal CBD, comes from the industrial hemp plant as opposed to the marijuana plant. They're cousins, for lack of a better term, but the industrial hemp plant has a much, much lower concentration of THC. And there's a few different types of THC, but the one that everybody likes is called Delta 9. Okay, so that's the feel good. That's the get you high THC. But with industrial hemp, you can extract the CBD out of it, which is just one of the components of the plant, which is obviously what we put in our things and what everyone has gone so nuts about. And you can basically remove the THC from it. Now, I clicked over on the website for a second, and I know it's really hard to see this. I'm just on the WADA site, the World Anti-Doping Agency.
Okay.
And they say, I'll read it because it's really hard to say, CBD is not prohibited. However, athletes should be aware that some CBD oils and tinctures extracted from cannabis plants may also contain THC and other cannabinoids that could result in a positive test for a prohibited cannabinoid. So all of that to say is WADA is cool CBD. So you can eat it by the spoonful as long as you know where your CBD comes from. And that's really the key. So yes, a lot of athletes can be nervous about this, and I totally get it. It's your livelihood. But we go through great lengths to third-party test our products a couple of times. We source our CBD from farmers in Oregon and Kentucky and Colorado. And when we buy bulk CBD from them, it's like a white powder. They send us along what's called a COA. It's a certificate of analysis. And so they've sent it to a lab and had it run through, and does it contain THC levels? Does it contain mercury? Does it contain pesticides? What are the other terpenes? So we get that. And then we're like, this is great, but also we're very neurotic. So we then test it again from a different third party that we have no association with other than we pay them money to just give us results to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Cool. I would be mortified if a professional athlete took our products and dunked positive.
Yeah, that would not be great. And that's, it's come to light with athletes that have had just like tainted drink mixes. And now with things on Amazon coming from every corner of the earth, there was a guy, I was in a meeting one time, and he was like, I don't want cheap protein powder. He goes, I don't really know what that is. And we were talking to athletes, like I mix up a lot of my own drink mixes. And one of the mixes I use, it's cheaper, but it's Informed Sport and whatever the other affiliated Informed Sport and Informed Choice tested. So it's like, don't buy the super cheapest one, like spend a couple more bucks and don't get busted for some weird stuff. So one thing that I was so my history with CBD was actually before we met. I think a friend had given me some, and really more, he was like, hey, if you're ever like have anxiety, it was kind of like just getting to be the rage. And I was like, what are people using it for? So I started looking into it. And the thing that turned me off was it's like CBD is this panacea. It's like, hey, are you stressed out? Does your back hurt? Do you have high blood pressure? Do you have this? Do you have like, whatever? It seemed like everything. And I was like, this just seems too good to be true. But it actually I'm trying to remember exactly what I was taking it for at first. And I just, in my head, I was like, the way it was presented convinced me that it couldn't have been that. And then there was a small place in Tennessee that had it. My barber actually knew the people, and they seemed like a cool little place, but it was kind of like, it was only made in Tennessee. It was like the label was like, it was a very small company, which kind of weirded me out. And that's when I started thinking about the sports thing. And I was like, probably shouldn't be taking this. Like, and I don't even smoke weed. So I'm like, if I got busted, I'm not even having fun with it. Like, that would be
Right.
really lame.
Right.
So the thing that when I started looking through your page, you guys have different types. One's for anxiety, one's for joint and muscle pain. How did you guys come up with these formulations? And this is going to lead into my other question of how I tried to kind of make my own like concoction here. But what sparked you to be like, okay, CBD is working for me, but we need to take it up a notch? And like, how did you find these other, like the two that come to mind that I've actually, these anxiety, I don't get super anxious, but I will say
You got them right here on my desk, my man.
Dude, there are days when it's like, it hits 9 a.m. and everything has gone crazy. And that's when you need your body double. And I'll just be like, I'm gonna pop one of these things. And you're just kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it, because it's not like you're mellow, man. It's just things don't wind out of control. And I've told people that I know who are like super stressed about these, and they're like, whoa. So I'm gonna read this. It has 5-HTP, magnesium, ashwagandha, and St. John's wort. Where did this all come from?
So you're not crazy about the anxiety. I've always struggled to tell people how these caps make you feel, because it doesn't get you high.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like you said, I'm mellow, man. It's not that.
Someone's like, is it like a glass of wine? I was like, no, it's 9 a.m. It's like, it just makes you less stressed. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, it literally is just less stressed.
Yeah. So going back a little bit, so you'll recall I met this wonderful person named Christina who introduced me to CBD. And I said that she had discovered it because she was using it with her father. So her father, Tony, he's not with us anymore. He died last year, but he helped us at the genesis of this company, along with a few other people. He was a certified nutritionist and way ahead of the game. Like he was taking ashwagandha a very long time ago when no one had ever even heard of it. And so knowing that, we wanted to get into CBD because it was helping us. Here's a spoiler: almost everything that we design and manufacture and sell is because of something in our personal lives that we've wanted to make a little bit better. Like the chamois cream was straight up, my ass was sore and I wanted a better chamois cream. Like that was it. That's why we never planned on manufacturing it. We just have all the equipment. So I'm like, let's selfishly make some for me.
That's awesome.
But like these things like 5-HTP, kind of back to your point where CBD seems like everyone's like, it's a cure-all, it's a panacea. Like it's not really that. It helps with a lot of things. It's an anti-inflammatory, but it helps with a lot of things. So we decided to also add some other things to certain things, like the Advantage caps, like 5-HTP. And we just talked to some scientists and some engineers and some nutritionists, and ended up with 5-HTP in particular as the main ingredient behind CBD on that. Because I was a party guy in college, but apparently I wasn't that much of a party guy, because the first people that we sold this to, they go, oh yeah, 5-HTP. I used to take that to come down from raves. Really? And I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't know that. And like, oh yeah, everyone who raves knows about 5-HTP. It mellows you out. And I'm like, okay. Interesting. So we'd come to it through a different process of just something that, creates a sense of calm, but combined it with the CBD.
That's a good way of putting it, a sense of calm. So you made the comment about inflammation, which kind of jumps. If you had to say one thing that CBD does the most for people, what is it? Or things that you have heard from other people that be like, this cures my...
That's the question I'm going to answer, because we can't make health claims.
Yeah.
So I will tell you what other people have told me.
Great. Perfect. Sorry to put you in
It's tough. It's just, I say that tongue in cheek, but I get it. Like why we can't make health claims, because it's not regulated by the FDA. So you can't really make health claims with any supplements. right? You just can't. But I can tell you what other people have told
So,
me.
so I tell people, because like, and when you talk about ashwagandha, like I'm super into micronutrients and stuff. So I'm like,
Yes.
cordyceps makes me faster. I probably can't legally say that, but like, I'm like, eat these mushrooms and you'll get faster. So
Yes.
I need to look into those rules, but so people don't watch that other video.
Well, that's okay. As long as you don't own an ashwagandha company, I think you're okay. Like,
Okay, fair
that's
enough.
the funny thing is other people, we can't really say on our product pages, like what this will do. We try to give hints in the product names, but then in the reviews, that's fine. Whatever people want to say in the reviews.
Okay.
And so I think there's really two main things. There's several, but the two main things are pain. That's number one why people look for help with CBD. And the other one is kind of a dual anxiety, which really is sleeplessness a lot of times. So those are kind of the two big camps right there. And you had mentioned, you said you sent me a confessions email.
Yeah.
It really was entitled like Confessions.
It was called, I think it was called J&M Confessions. So
yeah, you were talking about the joint muscle pain advantage, right? Oh, hey, look at that. You've got the same
man.
thing.
Okay. So we'll talk about the story right now. So when did all the capsules come out? 6 months ago, 5 months ago?
We technically released them right at the very bitter end of 2020. They had been in R&D for a very long time, and then COVID. And, a lot of things changed. Businesses really had to change a lot of things. And so we had to really change basically our entire business structure and what we're rolling out. I was super excited for the capsules because when you look at something.
You sent me them, and that's how this all started. You sent me these little trial packs, which, okay. So, and for people that know, I'm definitely like plugging this company. You can get 10 packs to try different ones. You don't have to buy like 40 at once, but you sent me these little ones, and this was
like these little guys.
Yeah.
Little 10
and
packs.
This was in these beginning of 2020. So I hurt my QL. I injured it. I was off the bike, man. I was on the side of the road one day and with no races because of COVID in 2019, really, I'm getting pumped up for the season coming up in 2021. I'm on the side of the road. I can't even ride. My back is just jacked up and it's like running down my hip flexor. And I'm like, this sucks. So I started going to PT, do some dry needling, and I forget what I was clearing out. And I was like, oh, these CBD caps. I forgot these guys sent this to me. I really had only cared about the chamois cream, and other people like the drops, the regular CBD drops.
Yeah, the drops is what most people know for CBD.
I see joint and muscle pain. I'm like, this isn't going to do anything, but I'm going to try it. So it was a little box, 10 of them. I started taking them. I took 2 a day. Within maybe the third or fourth day, I'm way looser. I'm not feeling the pulling, because what it was is, for people that don't know the QL, you can look it up. The PT guy showed me a scatter fly. He's like, hey, is this where your pain's presenting? And it runs down your back and kind of hooks around your hip and then down the front of your thigh, your groin. And it would be really tight. So I'm like, man, I feel really good. Oh, it's the PT, and I've been doing these stretches. Okay. So
what a coincidence.
The 10 caps runs out pretty quickly. And I'm like, 2 or 3 days later, I'm kind of back to where I was. And I was like, there's no way. So I think I started taking some regular CBD, didn't have that much, and got another 10 pack. It worked again. I don't know why. This is embarrassing to put this on video. It kind of came and went, and then I was like better. And then it kind of came back when the CBD stopped. So I was like, well, these aren't the cheapest things. And I'm trying to be fruit, as an athlete, you spend a lot of money on a lot of different things. So I'm looking at this bottle and I'm like, well, it's CBD, but what's this MSM and Boswellia? And so I Googled those, and one of them is to help reduce inflammation, I believe. And the other one was
They actually both work pretty well for inflammation.
Okay. So I'm like, well, I'm going to buy these 2 things and take these and let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Surprise, it didn't. And I was like, okay, well, it wasn't that big of a loss. And so then I figured I'm going to buy this big bottle of these things. And literally within 5 days, I felt better than I had. I was doing 4.5-hour bike rides. I didn't even feel when you have an injury that's not throbbing, but people will say, oh, but I can feel it there.
Oh yeah, you notice it for sure.
Notice it. I
Oh,
can get through these rides, but I was like, it's there. And I was just sort of like, I wonder when this is going to go away. So these things, the CBD, it has MSM and Boswellia. Can you just talk about those two things? Because guys, if you have, and it's the easiest one to remember, joint or muscle pain, honestly, just give these a try. There's nothing to, I mean, yeah, you can lose $30 or whatever it is, but this is a life changer. I've told so many people about these and they're like, I'm really skeptical. And I have this conversation that we've just had for the past 20 minutes. They're like, I'm kind of skeptical about CBD. Like, do you really think this works? I'm like, try them and then let's talk in like a week. And it's amazing. So what's the deal? How, like, what is those two other ingredients? Is it just like adding on to the CBD or?
Yeah, it is. So, what you remember I said, all of these products that we manufacture are basically for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I was taking CBD, but I was like, I know we can do better. We started off with drops well before our capsules, and this also has Boswellia in it. But as I looked into this more, and as our company started researching it more, like you just need a larger dose than you can necessarily put in a carrier oil. So we use an organic MCT oil in here, which is great, and CBD is fat soluble, so it solutes completely. But things like Boswellia are not, and so we put these caps into R&D for a very long time, and like I said, COVID, so there's a big delay in a lot of things. But I think to answer your question directly, yes, these help in addition to the CBD. And I don't know that there's enough studies, like very specific studies done of like, let's look at Boswellia with CBD, but I suspect someone's probably working on that right now. We link on our site. This is the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health, NCBI. So a lot of people will, these are where all the studies are published. And so we link these on our site because, like I can sit here and tell you how wonderful this is, but we always encourage people to do their own homework, right?
DYOR people, do your own research.
Exactly. So we want people to look into these things also because, again, remember, we can't make health claims. And so I can, I'll tell people, if you look on the site, if, you go to, Chug Hydrate, and down here, we have this thing called the NCBI studies and information. And we have some basic links on here. Why does this help with anxiety? Why does it help with pain relief? To your point, you said, hey, what about like Boswellia? We need to link some more in here. We're a little behind the gun. Again, just COVID just kind of threw all the business plans off. But we do put these links to only very reputable sources on our site so people can do their own research.
Okay. You're really good at like stealing my thunder a little bit. So the product.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Forget everything I just said. What's your question?
No, the product that I was sure I probably wouldn't use was Chug. And I was you sent me some of these and I was like, oh, these are cool. So number one, the name is slightly misleading. I thought it said Chug. So I opened it and I chugged it. And then you informed me, no, you're actually supposed to put these in a bottle with water. Now, that being said, I find them quite delicious on their own. And so I was like coming back from riding, I was just crushing a couple.
Yes.
And then I was like, I probably don't need to do that. And then I realized you had put an email. I think it says on the back, 12 to 24 ounces of water.
Well, you're not losing your mind, man. I drink them straight also.
These are, if you have enough room in your saddlebag or in your back pocket, or I use a frame bag, so I got plenty of room. So I actually keep, for really long rides, I keep the hydration capsules, and then I keep a Chug Hydrate in there.
Yep.
Get extra electrolytes, because people now see, they go on these longer rides, especially because of gravel riding. You get in the middle of nowhere, and people are like, well, I can only find water. What do you bring? And I'm like, bingo. You could bring powders, but to me, it's like you then looks like you're like, a cartel carrier. You've got this big thing of powder. If it gets wet, it's disgusting.
And you're like, dump. Yeah.
It doesn't work well.
So
if everything's come from a story, who's the story behind this one?
So Christina actually came up with the name Chug.
Okay.
So again, we both ride. So I'm in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles area, and it gets hotter than hell here. Like I've lived on the East Coast too, so I get the whole humidity thing, and East Coast, West Coast, which is hotter. It's legitimately hot here. It's not humid, but like, I live at the base or in the Santa Monica Mountains, and so it's 115 degrees some days on a climb. And so we actually came up with chug so I wouldn't die, because I'm not smart enough to not ride when it's that hot.
Dude, you got to get the miles in when you can.
And I love the heat. I'm, most of the people I ride with, they will go out early in the morning. I'm like, nah, man, I wait till it's like 2 o'clock, and like 95 is honestly like my primo riding weather, and I'll ride up to like 105. But I like the heat. I'm like a lizard like that. So we made chug so I wouldn't die on my rides.
That's good. There's a guy that I coach that's out in Vegas, and every temperature I see on it, he's like, the cool days are like the 93, or it's like 115. I'm like, dude, how are you doing intervals when it's that hot? He's like, I'm just adapted to it. Like, I don't even think about it.
Well, the actual riding story, I will tell you, I know exactly why we started developing chug. It was a few years back, and I was riding up a climb called Mulholland here in Santa Monica Mountains, and there's some very famous rides, but most people have heard of Mulholland and songs and stuff like that. And so this is Mulholland coming up from the Pacific Coast Highway, and it was an extremely hot day, and I was the only one out there riding, like, hey, why am I not seeing anybody? And so Mulholland is a 7-mile climb, and I've done it a lot. And so I started going up it, and I realized I was going through water fast. I don't remember exactly the temperature. It was probably the 110, 113 range right in there. And so I'm maybe like halfway up Mulholland, and I'm completely out of water. Like I've got my two and nothing. And I'm like, well, at the top of Mulholland, a little bit off of that is a fire station that has a water spigot. And so I just have to make it to that. Well, I keep on climbing. It's getting worse and worse. Pretty soon, I don't know if anyone who's watching this has ever experienced this, I started smelling urine, and it wasn't that I was peeing. I looked this up later. Extreme dehydration, these toxins start leaving through your skin because you don't have any moisture left here. And so I didn't know that at the time. I'm like, wow, I smell like pee. Anyway, I was not smart. I get to the top, I'm hurting. I mean, I'm hurting bad. And I don't think I had even the sugary powdery mix in my drink at that time. I obviously survived. I made it to the fire station, sat there for an hour while I rehydrated and moved on. But two things came of that. Number one is chug, which I'm very happy with. And number two is everyone who I tell that story to goes, why didn't you just turn around? And I'm just like, it actually, I am not kidding you. It never occurred to me to turn around. Like my life was probably in danger, and I was just like, gotta make it to the top. Gotta go to the smarter top. People would have turned around.
No, those are the weak people, I think. You gotta just keep going. I would just keep going.
Just keep going.
So with the cycling, if you're a cyclist, what do most of these endurance athletes that are involved with CBD or Hello Blue, like what benefits do you hear them talking about? Maybe they don't have an injury. I mean, I was kind of really drawn more to this through the chamois cream, through an injury, then seeing benefits of the CBD. If someone didn't have an injury before, what's usually their like go-to to get into it? And I mean, I think recovery is probably where I would be seeing this as the biggest benefit, but I don't want to take their words out of their mouth.
Do you know what our number one seller is? You might know. Like the absolute number one product seller.
You know what? You told me once, I actually didn't believe it.
Here's the reveal.
Dun, 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 dun. Sleep advantage. That's what it is. Yeah. Okay.
So because recovery, you nailed it. It's recovery. Like we can put CBD in our bodies. We can do all kinds of things. We can have protein powders. If you're not sleeping, like there is no better form of recovery than letting your body heal. And it's crazy that we still, the scientific community still doesn't know exactly why we need to sleep. We just know that we do. And you can do studies. And if people don't sleep, they feel terrible and you don't recover as quickly. And like, there's an infinite practically amount of information about what happens when you sleep. We just don't, it's just so strange, the whole sleep process. But the recovery, even the most hardened athletes who don't have any injuries, I actually spoke with someone today. Well, I spoke with their agent today for a pro who's like, their physical prowess is second to none, but they're having problems sleeping. And so I'm going, man, like how much better would they be if they actually slept normally? So The sleep capsules, the sleep advantage capsules, #1 seller by far.
Wow.
And you know this. I don't think everybody else who watches know this. We make fun colors too.
Dude, the colors are awesome. I love the colors. The orange
these
one.
These are purple.
Yeah. My background really screws up.
Oh yeah, there's the pain caps, and then hydration. So that way you don't actually, hydration's blue.
Don't take the purple. It's like the Matrix.
So you don't actually take the wrong one. You don't take this while you're out on a bike ride. You'll take a nap about halfway through.
So what about, so that does have melatonin. If someone's sensitive to it or doesn't want to take it, what's maybe would they try just regular CBD after a ride and see if they notice like just the when you use the term the feeling of calm, that's a really good way of describing it, and I think the other question that I get, and this is actually my own concern too, since CBD is relatively new and there are studies, but like long term, I don't really care to take something all the time, no matter what it is. Like I'm big in variation, whether it's training, whether it's the foods I eat, whether it's, well, I guess not really sleep. So I kind of use it more if I have an issue like this, I've been taking more consistently because of my back. And I just want to make sure that that is actually like gone and done. But what about for people that might be like, well, can I be taking this all the time? What kind of resources should they look into to do their research on that? Like, I'm sure they could Google something, but you find a million different results. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once again, you mentioned the new CBD start your page here. We kind of give an overview about this.
Okay.
But there are links to studies. Like I always encourage people to really check out their information on their own, but it's I would go to I would stick with the NCBI. I mean, it talks, here's one specifically about sports performance and cannabidiol. So there are people though who are nervous about taking too much CBD, and I understand that. I'm thinking back to your other question, like what else do people use? It's probably this Muscle Butter Active. We have chamois cream. We have just some topicals that are safer, for lack of a better term. I mean, none of this is dangerous. I'm saying safer in other people's minds. Despite what the people selling you topicals at the gas station will tell you, it doesn't get into your bloodstream. Like it just doesn't. And so it feels good on your skin. I mean, we even have, I can't really speak to this a whole lot because I don't know much about all of it. I do know that this is very popular. We have some skincare products that are very popular. Our man Shaka actually really likes them.
Okay.
So I'm too old and weathered. Maybe I should start using them.
That's exactly. Shaka's gonna watch. He should watch this and be like, dude, that's exactly why you need to be using that. That's why that dude.
Yeah, I know.
Shaka's glowing. He looks radiant and super happy. His last video, he was like singing some song. I forget it was like he was like making his own meme of something. I was like, this dude's awesome.
Yes.
Does he live in LA?
He's just full. He's like that in real life too. He's just like full of energy and pep.
Yeah. Is he in LA right now? Is that where he lives?
Yeah. He's an LA guy.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
My last question, what is the biggest question that you get asked as the co-owner of this brand? Is it CBD based? Like what people getting into it now that it's out there? Maybe it's a more in-depth question that now people are getting more educated. And I'm sure you get like a wide variety. Is there any like big thing that you kind of want to like get out there?
Oh goodness. The questions are some of the common questions are kind of random, not that you'd think about like for athletic performance. We get asked a lot is, can you take CBD on airplanes? We get asked that a lot. Really? And the answer is, it depends on who your TSA agent is. So it used to be, the TSA now says it's okay, but I mean, we've all been through the security line. If they want to take something, they're taking it.
Yeah.
And so we just tell people, proceed with caution. I don't have any data for this, but I would speculate that your oil is going to get taken much more readily than your capsules, and they're not going to touch your lotion. But we get asked that question a lot. And so far, none of our customers have had it nabbed. So we had someone ask if we could write a letter for them that it's okay to bring it. And I'm like, I don't know who you think we are, but the TSA really doesn't care.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I have my letter from Hello Blue.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. Let's see another. Just a business question we get a lot is people say, what if I try this and I don't like it or it doesn't work or whatever? We have an extremely liberal return policy. If you don't like it, we'll return your money. It's pretty simple. That's it. Dude. If we keep on seeing the same people over and over, we're going to be like, I don't know about that, but
yeah.
So we actually haven't had too many people take us up on that.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. I mean, before I was like, well, you have $30 to lose, but now there really is nothing to lose. Like if you have pain, anxiety, it's actually interesting now that you said that those are the two main things. When I think of the two products that I actually do recommend the most outside of cycling, because it's like the chamois butter is really what I just tell everybody. That I'm like, dude, I watch people like squirt this goop on and it's like dripping all over the place. I'm like, why are you using that? The anxiety and the pain. And I guess, kind of what you said, it's like, cause those are the two things that have worked in my own life. So I sleep really well, so I don't really hit the sleep ones up. I've got a few in here. But yeah. Well, dude,
I take sleep every night now. I actually, so I've never really had a problem with anxiety kind of traditionally, but I'd say in the last year and a half, I've struggled with a little bit more. So I take an anxiety cap like around dinner time and it just mellows, I just calm, just feel better. And then I take a sleep cap at night and I mean, I just sleep well.
It is within 30 minutes. Like you're tired. You're just like falling asleep. So don't take the purples on the bike ride.
Don't take the purples on the bike.
Man, I'm excited to get out there to LA. Chris loves LA and we'll have to somehow. So you have physical store out there that people can go to?
Yeah, we do in Malibu.
Okay.
We had one up in Westlake Village. We just didn't get very much traffic through there, so we closed that.
Okay.
So we have a store in progress in Malibu right now. So
cool.
I won't drag you into the history of it, other than to say that the city of Malibu is a little bit slower than other cities to approve different permits. And so we're patiently waiting to get our actual main flagship store open there. But we're in the same area. We have a little I call it temporary, but it's probably going to be there for a while. Our shop in Point Village.
Okay, cool. Well, if people are there, they should stop by. Otherwise, hellobluecbd.com.
And you have a coupon code.
I was just gonna say, dude, my friends love it. All the athletes, they laugh because we have a Discord with it's just a Discord about talking about training and racing. And somebody came on with something and we were like, where's the code? And they're like, what do you mean? We're like, you can't post something here without a code. Like, where's our coupon code? Like, you can't shill without giving us a discount. That's hilarious, dude. So people that listen to this on the podcast, that's amazing. My code.
Oh, you want to see what else? Something else funny? Guess where I am.
Where? Dude, this is the
I'm in Blowing Rock.
This is, oh my God, dude. That's
the Blowing Rock.
That is the Blowing Rock. Oh my goodness, dude, you're ready for this. This is super pro. That was.
I just wanted to surprise you a little bit.
You did. That was an amazing ending. I'm actually pretty shocked. That's incredible. Yeah. So people always laugh. They're like, Brendan, you love giving codes. I'm like, well, because I find these products and I get super obsessed, and then I bother these people until they ask me, like, okay, fine, you can be a sponsor, or we'll sponsor you. And somebody one time asked me, there's not many products that I push out there, but someone was like, do you use all this stuff? And I was like, dude, there's 3 or 4 things. Yeah. It's like, I beg them to, help support me in what I'm doing, because I'm out there training a ton. And it's just been a huge benefit having Hello Blue behind us. And appreciate all you do.
I can actually attest, the things you use. I mean, the behind the scenes stuff, man, you send me emails and you're like, all right, what's up with this? What's up with this? Like, you want to know what the product is about. You're not just going to be like, oh, sure, I'll throw out a discount code. I know you use the stuff. Yeah. You don't talk about stuff you don't use.
No, and see, because I don't want to be I just think the authenticity is obviously very important. But just if somebody asks me about something that they're going to put in their body and I give a BS answer, and then they come back well, this actually happened. I'm like, I don't really use that. And to
Yeah.
a similar joke, the only time I could say I did this once was I had this one workout that I'd never done before. It looked brutally hard. And I gave it to this guy and he was like, dude, that was impossible. Like just writing this email on training. He's like, oh, I've never tried that one. He's like, what? He's like, you gave me this workout I never did. I was like, no, that looked horrible. I wanted to test it on you. So Tim Paul, I'm sorry about that, but we got a good chuckle. And I was like, okay, this is a good life lesson. But no, yeah, I think there's just, why put something out there that you're not into when there's so many other things that I do use and love. So
Yeah.
those are the ones I'm going to focus on. And that's why people always see the chamois cream popping up in my IG story. It's just like, I don't get how there's people out there that don't use it yet. So,
well, we're super proud to like work with you and sponsor you, man. I think you are just an outstanding athlete. I mean, champion, obviously. That's not bad.
old man
Not
champion,
bad.
old man champion. Still, we got some surprises for next year, though. I will say, man, I'm still gunning for that amateur nationals. It's like, I don't think I will stop at some point, obviously, but I'm like, I'm turning 40 this year and it's kind of funny, just feeling a little bit older in the peloton of Cat 1 cyclists in the US. But there's guys like Eric Marcotte that show up who's probably 42 or 43. I'm best buddies. So there's a few elder statesmen in there who are still ripping. I think I've got a couple more legit shots, and there might be some surprises next year that could increase those odds. And even if I couldn't win, I would love to just be a part of seeing a teammate win that race. It's the one race. I shouldn't say the one race. It's the one race that I've looked at for so long and just come up short time and time again. So we'll see. But
you got this, man. You got this. I'm excited to see your surprises as they roll out.
We'll see what happens. Well, dude, thanks for
random thing too about about your coupon code here.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you about this, but why don't we just it normally takes 15% off. Looking, what's the 12th? Why don't we just bump it up to like 30% off plus a couple of freebies through the end of the month? Is that cool?
Sick.
All right.
Yeah. So
now I have to make sure we do it. Will happen right after.
So I won't post this right away. I'll post this. How many days do you need? Well, because I got to get this.
I need 5 minutes. That's it. No, it's done. I'm doing it right now.
What are the freebies so I can tell people? Or email me later if you don't want me to put you on the spot.
Probably let's give them a sample of the chamois cream, just a little one.
Okay.
Just to try out. Hydration caps.
Okay.
Got to have that. Let's see what else would we want to do here. I don't know. What do you want to throw in? Just like
what about the little, can we do the little joint and pain cap?
Done. Cool. So we'll do a 10-pack of joint and pain. We'll do a 10-pack of hydration caps, and then like one of the little chamois. Yeah, I'll just tell people right now, like if you use a lot of chamois cream, the little one will be good for a couple rides, but that's about it. So if you like really want it, don't wait for the little sampler.
Yeah. Cool. And I would recommend people try the chug and, go on the website and look at all the stuff that they have. It's like you can peruse through. It's actually, I really like just kind of cruising through.
I'm doing this right now so I don't forget.
Okay.
I know it's rude as we wrap things up, right?
No,
but
it's all
I want
good.
to make sure that we're doing this. So, and let's put on chug in there too. Okay, let's do a few free things. Let's do a chug and a hydration, right? So they can compare which they like.
Okay.
10-pack, and that'll be like a 10-pack and like one chug. And we'll do a 10-pack of joint muscle, and we'll do like the little chamois cream.
Sick. And it's the same code.
The department's gonna be so pissed at me. They're like, what? You're putting how much stuff in here?
Well, I will say it's like I order stuff and I'm like, I didn't order all this stuff. It's like, hey, thanks for all you do. Here's some free stuff. I'm like, dude, these guys are incredible. This is awesome.
We like to give away free things. Like when we can. We obviously have to like stay in business, but
run a business, yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's fun, man. It's going back to my agency days. I didn't get to do fun stuff like that. Actually, I got all the free video games I ever wanted, but I didn't get to like give people that many things. So it's kind of fun to like put little surprises in there. We're a small company still. You'll usually get a handwritten note on your invoice that's in there.
I do.
We'll just throw stickers in or something. Like we don't have like the assembly line where it's like these things must happen.
Right. It's not Amazon with robots yet, but
not yet. No, we only have 2 robots. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have any.
This is awesome. This is a good overview of kind of telling our story, your story, my story with the engagement with it. Because I had had a few questions from people that were just like, "Hey, I've seen your story, but now you're probably one of these guys sponsoring you. Like, so wait, what is the deal with this company?" And so it was really, I thought this was a good timely time to do just like a what is up with CBD? How has it helped me? What's sort of your story? What's the connection? So I appreciate you sitting down and taking the time to do this. And I'm pumped to see that room. It's very colorful, bright, and it represents the brand like to the T.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, man. And I should mention, that lovely woman that I started dating years ago,
Yeah.
she's my co-founder, my fiance now.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah. And when I say co-founder, like, I mean, let's face it, she's the brains behind the operation. So I'm just the good looking face.
You're just and the IT
with no
man,
hair.
and the IT guy.
Yeah, yeah. An IT guy.
Dude, this is awesome. Thank you for doing this.
All right, man. Thanks for staying up late and putting up with my IT troubles.
No problem. We'll talk soon.